women like sport. We do like sport. We always probably have. I can only see opportunities for women getting better, but it's got to be about, it's not just being a woman's not enough. You've got to know your stuff. My name's Clare Tomlinson and I am a broadcaster at Sky Sports News. Gosh, day to day, well, I normally would do an evening shift, so I'd probably get in at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon to go on air at 7. Check what the day's stories are, check through the scripts, make sure that I'm prepped on any of the live football or other sports that are happening that evening. Spend as little time as possible in makeup, although actually I should probably be spending more time in makeup nowadays as you get older. And then you're on air and the time goes like that, because when you're busy and you know you're trying to keep up with everything, it can be quite fun. Well, I started on the other side of the camera in sports media, sort of in the PR side, if you like. So I started at the Football Trust. From there I went to the FA. From the FA, I set up the press office for Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. And I suppose particularly at the FA and at Arsenal, I was working constantly with the broadcasters on the live games. So when Sky Sports decided to set up Sky Sports News, they came along and said, do you fancy a go? I think education is important for all walks of life, whatever you're going to do, as long as it's targeted. And particularly, you're going to be so much better at education if it's something that you're interested in. But there's never ever stop learning. There's always something to learn, and the day you think you've learnt it all is the day that you've finished. The best piece of advice I've ever been given, I guess it would be fail to prepare and prepare to fail. Yeah, when I was at university age, of course, it was all academic subjects. There were no vocational courses to the same way that they have here now, and I just think it's an amazing opportunity to really specialise in something that you're very interested in, and maybe to find out it's not something that you actually thought it was, but to delve in that deeply and to get a really good grounding, rather than spending 3 years studying something that perhaps you're not that bothered about. Broadcasting has changed so much. I mean, I remember when I was at Arsenal, we were in the cup final and I was the press officer then, and we maybe had, I don't know, 7 or 8 cameras turn up. Now if you go to an FA Cup final press conference, you'll have over 20, over 30 cameras from all around the world. So broadcast, there's just such an enormous appetite for news about the industry, and what Sky Sports have done is stay at the front of that. They are always innovating, always looking for the next way to present the story, to shoot the match, and that's what keeps them ahead, I think. Key factor behind the rise of women in sport, I guess, was the determination of the ones who wanted to be in it, and once girls can see role models on the screen and realise that that is a path that they can take, and it is a path that is taken seriously, then it's only going to grow as people realise that that is an opportunity that they can have. So I think it's just a general change in perception in society that women like sport. We do like sport. We always probably have, but now it's important that we're embraced. I can only see opportunities for women getting better, but it's got to be about, it's not just being a woman's not enough. You've got to know your stuff. You've got to, just as much as the boys do. So, but yeah, if you're willing to work hard and be determined, then I don't see that there are any limits on what you can achieve as a woman. Well, it is important. It's an enormous source of information. It's also a very scary place. And so it's not all good. And I think that it really needs to look at how it regulates itself from that perspective. But as a source of information, particularly a first-hand source, you've actually got players talking directly to you in their own words, without having to go through a medium of, say, a radio or a television or a newspaper, then that's fantastic. A sense of humour, I think, more than anything, because it's, you're going to do so much live and it's not always going to go right. Preparation, know your stuff, a calm head, even though you may be paddling madly underneath the desk. Yeah, and an ability to think on your feet. I think that's important as well. I mean, well, there's an enormous amount of preparation. No presenter goes on the television on their own. There's a whole production team behind you who are producing pictures, they're producing words, scripts are written. Some presenters get more involved in writing their own scripts than others, which is, sometimes down to the way a producer wants to work as much as how a presenter wants to work. But you can't learn a subject like football or a subject like cricket. You've got to have lived it. You've got to have watched the games. You've got to have had a feeling for what happened 10 years before. And people on the couch have done that, and they know if you haven't. So there's no hiding, I don't think, in sport. Do your prep, but also you don't be discouraged if it doesn't happen immediately. And don't think that the first step is to go straight on screen or straight onto a microphone. Work behind the scenes and learn how it works. And then you'll be in really good place when you actually get your opportunity, if you want to be on camera, to get on camera. Brilliant.